That's how we met. All right? Now, let me tell you about the name Shiver.
Hold on, no, there's a little bit more to that.
No.
There's a little bit more to that.
This is my story.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Shiver DJ'd. He scratched, he changed like he had been DJing for a while.
All his life.
Blew our minds. That's how I knew he had talent.
Shiver not shiver now.
And you are now watching
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Shiver not shiver now.
Were there any early signs of what could come from Shiver growing up?
Yes. So let me tell you this story. Shiver, when we was living in New Orleans, he came to us and said he wanted us to take him to the Guitar Center. And I'm like, he's about 9 years old. I said, well, I'm not taking, first of all, I didn't know anything about a Guitar Center, okay? And I said, why am I taking, there's Christmas coming up, why am I gonna take him to the Guitar Center? I said, he's 9 years old, ain't nothing to Guitar Center for a 9-year-old. And then Jeff said, well, let's see what he's talking about. I promise you this happened. We go to the Guitar Center. As we were walking, because they got this long aisle before you get into the store. As we were walking in, this young white guy, he probably like in the mid-20s, approached us and he said, you must be Shiver. So me and my husband kind of looked at each other like, this is the first time he'd been here. But we had to ring him. Why didn't we know Shiver's name? This guy continued to tell us that he had been communicating with Shiver over the telephone. Shiver is the type of person, and I learned, that if he's into something, he's going to do all the research, get all the details, all the backgrounds behind it. Even at that age, I didn't know that at the time. And so he told us that he had been talking to Shiver, and we know exactly what he wants. He did the research. He knew what kind of equipment he wanted, what the name was, because he knew all the information that we didn't have. So the guy took us to what they were discussing. And I had told Jeff, I said, 9 years old, he's going to get a play DJ system. Because that's what you do for kids, right? And I said, he ain't going to get no real DJ equipment because he's 9 years old. And then Jeff said, if he did all that research to find this stuff, he's getting that equipment. That's how he got his first DJ equipment. Now, let me add this. We wrapped it up, put it in the tree for him. Christmas morning, he woke up, opened his gift happy, laid it out, put it on the table, and he went to work. He started playing, then he started scratching, and got it down packed. That evening, we had Christmas at my father's house. Somewhere in there, I don't know how they did this, him and his cousins, his first cousins, got together. They put on a talent show. Shiver DJ'd, he scratched, he changed like he had been DJing for a while, and they put a talent show on Christmas evening. Blew our minds. That's how I knew he had talent.
Yeah. I mean, early on, when all through the moves, when Katrina pushed us out of New Orleans to Richmond, how we came about living in Richmond, once again, the kids decided where we're going to live. Because we're either going to live in South Carolina?
Never.
Atlanta or Virginia. Atlanta or Virginia. And the choices being that because our family lives on the East Coast and my in-laws, my wife's family lives in Louisiana, Chicago and different other places, but the main portion of the family lives in Louisiana on her side. And they chose Richmond, Virginia. So that's how we got to Virginia. And I tell you, Shiver was in the 8th grade when we got here. 9th grade?
He wasn't in 9th grade. He was in
7th, 8th grade? Anyway,
this is in middle school.
My son was so talented and so involved with this music that he started doing musical videos. And the videos, if you sat there and looked at it for a length of time, you were swept down, you want LSD. I mean, the lights were so brilliant. I mean, it was like when you looked at it, it was touching you versus you reaching out, touching it. And then he went into different other aspects of music and things of this nature. I'm like, dude, you need to go ahead and get on out there. And it ain't time yet, Dad. It ain't time yet. I'm like, shoot, it's time. To me, it's time.
But let me add to that. Before he got to that point, he started writing. He had a talent for writing and doing the rapping thing. And then when he started doing the rapping thing, he started wanting to get into the beats. Instead of buying beats, he wanted to learn how to do beats himself. So he started practicing. He asked, Mom, I need this. Dad, I need this. I need this type of equipment for the beats. I need whatever. But whatever he needed, we would get for him because he had a born talent. And we figured that was an investment in something we saw in the future. And so we would get all those things for him. And then he, like Jeff was saying, he went on to the videos. And not only that, he would take pieces of videos and merge them together. And then he would work with his big brother, because his big brother used to like rapping too, and get information, and he would put it all together in one project. But not having, let me add this, not having been going to school, he went to school for none of this. He learned it, I want to say, through the gift God gave him, research on the internet, and buying books and different equipment that he wanted. He mastered those things.
What are some of your proudest accolades and accomplishments?
For myself, mine is doing the military. I retired from the military with 22 years. That was a challenge. It was demanding, and it was a serious accomplishment for me. During that time, I was a soldier, a wife, a mother, a sister, an auntie, and I wore many different hats. Once I left the military, I went into finish my degree and got it in accounting. I became an accountant. I worked for the government as a senior accountant for a long time. Then I went to VA and became the assistant CFO, which is the chief financial officer at VA, and then I retired. So my overall experience in the military and in my civilian world was accounting, because in the military I was finance and accounting. So those will be my greatest accomplishments, besides having my 4 beautiful children. Good.
Well, pretty much graduating high school, joining the military, 22 years, field artillery, and greatest compliments would have to be my kids. Retiring, getting paid, that's a pretty good accomplishment. Retiring from the post office for the second time is a fairly decent accomplishment. But watching my kids do certain and different things in their life, you know, like my daughter Quanisha, she's a basketball player and she did well in college, high school, so on and so forth. Shiver, he has been in this music game all his life. And then, you know, other brothers and sisters, you know, he has an older brother that retired from the military, like his parents. You know, and then we have a published book writer, and her dreams are to write screenplays, and she lives in New York. So all the kids are doing well. Prior to me marrying my wife, I have 6 other kids, and all of them are doing well in the world. So, like I said, my greatest accomplishment is my kids.
I want to thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you imagine is the future for your son?
I think the future is unlimited. The reason I say that is because he is still growing, and he's taken his talent. He took his talent from wanting to be a DJ that did all that scratching like the old days, to wanting to write and wanted to do his own music. And what I left out is he used to be the producer that all the kids come over to, and he worked with them. Writing, recording their music, helping them with the beats and all that. So he wasn't a selfish person that just focused on himself. And at times I would tell him, I said, Shiver, I know where you want to go because you want to be a rapper or whatever. I said, but you can't take 100 people with you. Somewhere in there you got to get to the journey you're trying to get to and then go back and bring somebody with you. You can't do everybody at one time. And I think the people that he was working with all wanted the same thing, but they wanted to be the priority, when his priority should have been on him and then bringing everybody else along. So that's what me and him different in. But a lot of people worked with him, and he helped a lot of people do their initial disses and all this kind of stuff. But once, I want to say that I think he got to a point where he was tired, and so he put everything down. It's like he put my God-given talent to rest, because he was pulled so many different ways that he had a breaking point. And then it took him a couple of years to get back into it, and then he took everything he had and he expanded on it and built a better foundation to take it to different levels. Because now I see him where he can do little costume characters in a video. He can take clips from one song and put with another song and put two videos together, and things I never would have thought I would have saw him do. So I think his future, we don't know, but I think if he keep working at it, and now that he's going to Full Sail and he's getting that foundation, because I had a conversation with him about, you got the tools, you need the education to go with the tools you have and see the pieces that you are missing, so you can bring that whole package together, and then the world is endless to him. And that's where he's, to me, at now, trying to expand on that, whether it's in photos, videos, music, writing, or making beats. So he'll have that whole package. So the future, to me, is open for him.
Well, to chime on that, like Mike said, Shiver is very talented. I mean, he is my son, and I don't want to boast and brag on it, but the boy is very talented. I mean, whatever he put his mind to, like the wife says, it blows up. And there is no limit to his talent. I mean, he put his mind to it, he goes to it. But there's one thing I asked him many years ago when he was a younger adult. And I said, Shiver, why is it that, with all this talent you got, why don't you, and this is before Tyler Perry blew up, why don't you just reach out to someone, a radio station or someone, local, or someone that's looking for your type of talent? He said, Dad, and then he goes into the business. I mean, he digs deep into the business, where I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. But when he goes on and on, you start putting bits and pieces together on what it is he's talking about as far as breaking into the industry. And when he is so passionate, when he starts speaking on it, then you start feeling, okay, he wants to do this on his own. He wants to break out and be his own man. He don't want to be part of the oil machine. He wants to be himself. He wants to, like, when it's time for him to be discovered, it's going to be him, the whole package. And there won't be no mistakes on what it is you're looking for, because I have it all down pat. Whatever it is you want me to do, I have it done. So that's Shiver, when it comes to his music and all.
If you could introduce yourselves and let the audience know where you're from.
Okay, my name is Shiver Bruce. I'm originally from Latta, South Carolina.
Oh, I'm Jeffrey Bruce. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, by way of, you name it, military brat. We're both military brats, and we lived all over. And I graduated high school in South Carolina.
And where did you all meet? And how did you all decide the name Shiver?
Okay, let me answer that for you. We met in Korea. I'm gonna give you the little story, right? So, me and my girlfriend was celebrating me completing the EO class, Equal Opportunity Training class, and we went out to the club. And I was at the bar I'm not a drinker, but I was at the bar, and there's some guy in front of me just bothering me, getting on my last nerve. And they had this big mirror at the back of the bar. You know, they had the glasses and they had the big mirror. They had a big mirror, and I saw him standing there.
Him.
Just him standing there, just looking serious. I said, okay. And I just watched him for the rest of the night, and then I told my girlfriend, I said, I want to meet that guy right there. That's how we met. All right? Now, let me tell you about the name Shiver.
Hold on, no, there's a little bit more to that.
No.
There's a little bit more to that.
This is my story.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. So, later on, I got pregnant with Shiver, and talk about names. I was the type of person, I don't like common names or everybody else's name, basically. So when I had my first two children, I had this guy in my unit that was from, I forgot what he's from now. I forgot what he's from, but anyway, I had him give me some names. So he gave me 10 guys' names and 10 girls' names. And I said, okay, so I named my first son, one of them, and I named my daughter the other one. So when Shiver came, he said, my husband said, he wanted to name him Herbert because he told his brothers if he had sons, he's going to name his sons after his brothers. That's the promise he made to his brothers. He didn't talk to a wife about that decision, right? So when he told me he was going to name him Herbert, I said, over my dead body, he's not going to name my child Herbert. Then I said, so you got to come up with something else. So he came up with Shiver. I said, that's not common. I never really heard of that name. That will work. So he gave him Shiver, and I gave him DeSante. That's how Shiver got his name. Okay? Next question.
Now, backtracking on this conversation. Now, everything she said is true. That part of seeing me in this big mirror looking serious, she told me that later. But the thing is, she did send her girlfriend over to get me, and she came and said, what's your name? I said, Jeffrey. She says, how old are you? I gave her my age at the time. And then she says, follow me. I'm like, and I'm sitting with a couple of NCOs that, I just met because I just got to Korea. And I walked over, following her through the chairs in the club and all, and walked over, and the young lady says, which was her best friend, still is, sit here. And I sit down, and my wife, well, Laquita at the time, was sitting there, and we was having the basic conversation, and this is the part she left out. She asked, basic conversation, where you from? And when that popped up, she said, I'm from South Carolina. I said, okay, what part? She said, you wouldn't know. I said, well, try me. She said, you know anything about South Carolina? I said, yeah, I graduated high school there. And she said, where? And I said, well, tell me where you're from first. And she said, Latta, and I fell out laughing. Oh, my God. Latta is a small, small town. And it's 12 miles. 15 miles?
12 miles.
12 miles from the high school I graduated from, Marion, South Carolina. So we talked about that, this, that, and the other. And then, like she said, we got together, and months later, she was pregnant and in Korea, and we was passing names on, and I tried everything, and she told the truth. I want to name all my sons after my brothers. And Herbert is my father's name. And my mother didn't want to name me Herbert, didn't want to name my brother Greg Herbert, and they made a deal, if this is a son, we're going to name him Herbert. And that's how my brother became Herbert, and that's why I wanted to name Shiver. And then my uncle, my mother's brother, is Shiver. His name was Shiver. And I passed that on to her, and I didn't think she was going to go for it, but lo and behold, it stuck.
And let me add this. He had Jeffrey Jr., and he had a brother named Greg and a son named Greg. So he don't have a son named Herbert. I just want to throw that in.
I may have a grandson sooner or later. We'll see.
He won't be named Herbert, but go ahead.
Do you have any advice for a future Shiver?
The advice I would have for a future Shiver is he has all the tools he needs. I think he wants to, like Jeff said, wants to be his own person, which is okay. But don't close doors that can open bigger doors for you. Sometimes you have to bow down a little bit to get ahead. And sometimes you have to take a chance on letting somebody push you to that direction. So if those doors open, take that opportunity, because anything you can get from any type of industry that the field that you want to go into that can help you build will only make you a better person when you get to the top. That would be my advice there.
Now, that question, a future Shiver, are we speaking Shiver or people to come behind Shiver that is trying to do things like Shiver?
Both.
Okay, well, when it comes to my son Shiver, I tell you, when I sit and say he wants to dig and dabber and everything that can make him better at what it is he does, I tell you, it surprised me when Shiver said, okay, it's time to expand his knowledge and his means of seeing the world. It surprised me when he joined the military. And I'm saying, well, okay, this is going to be a good thing for him. And he'll get to see the world. He'll get to see a lot of things. And this can't help, do nothing but help him. But he got injured. He got hurt. And that's another story. So that didn't pan out for him. But it made him stronger because he got to see what do we call it? Structure in the military, structure, this, that, and the other. He got that taste of it. Well, he had that before he went there. But he got a little more of it. But then Shiver is driven. I mean, he's so driven that when he gets to talking about music or people, philosophers, I mean, the boy is so deep when it comes to music, talented people, and it doesn't have to be just music. He's deep. Now, to see a future Shiver, I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. But to be a Shiver, you have to be what most of people our age that meet our kids would sit and say, your kids are so well mannered. I mean, it's yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That's the thing that I think built Shiver to get where he is as far as respect. Because he shows respect every time he ventures. Even if you tell him no, he will show you that respect. He is a person that won't give up. You close the door on him, he'll find another door to open. So to say that to younger people that's coming up behind him, just be respectful. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be upset because they said no. There's a yes somewhere out there for you. Shiver finds him.
Like I always told all my kids, to include Shiver, I'm a firm believer that anything is possible. And I always told them, if you can dream it, you can see it. If you can see it, you can do it. So it's nothing stopping you from being whatever it is you want to be, but the person looking back at you in the mirror. Because you make your destination. You decide whether you get there or whether you don't. And the decision you make to get there is what drives it. So everybody's going to have hurdles. Everybody's going to have roadblocks. But I'm a firm believer, every time you get to a hurdle or a roadblock, it's a lesson to be learned. Figure out what that lesson is and cross over and keep moving forward. A lot of people get that hurdle or that roadblock, they stop and go back. No, everything that happens in life happens for a reason, and it's a lesson to be learned. Figure that out, move on. Don't go back, because you'll never get to your destination. And that's things I tell all my kids.
They all listen. They all doing well, thank God.
Yes.
Thank you guys for the interview, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Shiver not shiver now.
And you are now watching
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Do that there.
Interviews with Shiver Bruce.
Shiver not shiver now.
The coldest. Some call him 9, but I call him Shy. Everybody make some noise. It's Shiver Bruce.
Shiver not shiver now.
I hope all is well with you and yours. Thank you for the continued support. This was more great content from the Shiver Bruce Company. I've been your host, Shiver not Shiver, Shiver Bruce. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, sign off in the comments, and stay tuned for more great content like this.
Shiver not shiver now.
Do that there. Do that there. Do that there.
Shiver not shiver now.